All right. Well, we're going to keep talking about the Canvas website every day for a while, just because there's good chances that we're going to go remote at some point, and we want to make sure that everybody understands a couple of things. So I know those of you that were here yesterday heard me say this, but you're going to hear me say it, almost every day for a while, and that is, guys, please make sure you know how to check in. So right here, this is the new website. This should be what all your Canvas web pages will look like once they fix Canvas, once they get y'all connected. Right now, you're still connected to first semester classes, okay? They're gonna be connecting you to second semester, and second semester, all classes look like this, okay? So I got an email this morning that says it looks like it'll be done today. Hopefully it will at some point. But the big thing that we want to make sure is this check mark. So on every single one of y'all's Canvas sites, y'all should have this check mark. And that's where you do your attendance, okay? The thing that I think a lot of kids don't understand, and I think that at some point you're going to be getting letters about this, but there's two ways to fail a class. One way is you fail, you're right. One way to fail a class is by, actually making a failing grade. And of course that makes sense to y'all, right? I failed the class because I, didn't pass my test. I didn't do my work. I actually failed the class. The second way to fail the class is by attendance. So every year I get kids that retake Algebra 1 who have already passed. Okay. I had 4, sorry, who have already passed, got a passing grade in Algebra 1, who are taking Algebra 1 again this year because of their attendance, okay? Now, in years past, if you had too many absences, you didn't have a choice. You had to retake the class. This year, because of COVID, if you have too many absences, they will, I think anyways, allow you to go to Saturday school to make up those absences. So here's the thing I want you to think about. And of course, you can always say, I had kids yesterday tell me, I ain't going to no Saturday school. I'm like, well, I mean, that's your choice. But after 6 months, you have to retake Algebra 1. Okay. And so, you got some options here. One of my favorite things to my kids, I got 5 daughters, and one of my favorite sayings to them is, you can choose your hard. Life's hard, and you get to choose what you want your hard to be. And so, your hard might be taking 5 minutes to check in on all your classes. Your hard might be, no, I'm not going to go check in on my classes, but I'm going to go to Saturday school. Some kids are like, I don't want to get up on a Saturday to go do Saturday school. And your hard is retaking a class you've already passed. Okay. But in the end, you got to choose something. Now, of all the hard things to do, the easiest would be to go check in every day. Okay. And so even if you're sick, and you got a legit reason not to check in, if you will just hop on that computer and check in on all your classes, man, you counted present for the day, and you can always make up the work. Okay. I'm less concerned about the work, and I know that sounds weird, but we can always get you caught up on the work. For attendance, the only way to get you caught up is to do Saturday school. Okay. And so I just want to make sure y'all know. And if you choose to do Saturday school, or you choose to retake this class, man, I love you guys. I don't mind seeing y'all again next year. That doesn't bother me a bit. Okay. So now you may not want to see me next year. You may be like, oh God, 1 year of settles is enough. So I don't know. But in the end, like I said, if you pass the class, I want y'all to get credit for it. That's the big thing. Okay. So we want to make sure that y'all know to be checking in every day. Click on that button. Now, like if you're at home now, this isn't here yet. So, but I think after today it will be. So make sure you're checking in. If you ever need to get connected to me on Zoom, as long as I'm on Zoom, this button right here will connect you to me on Zoom. Announcements right here is where I keep all my so like, let's just go to right here real quick. So like, we're in the 4-6 weeks. So you click on that, and there's yesterday's video right there. So if you if you you know, didn't get yesterday's, that's where you could get it. Okay. So I always have the previous days up there. I usually get that up about 8 o'clock. All right. The last thing I want to show y'all, and then we'll move on, is here's where we no longer have the assignments button. See, I remember the assignments button where you used to go get, oh, you know what? Let me switch this real quick to y'all's view. So this is what y'all's will look like right here. So we no longer have the assignments button here where y'all used to go and click. I think most of y'all went and got your assignments from right here. In every class, to get your assignments now, you have to scroll down to this box right here. You have to click on the 4-6 weeks, because right now we're in the 4-6 weeks. And then you got to click on the current week. Now I will try. So you see where it says current week? That's something I put in. Most classes, it doesn't say current week. I am always going to try to have something that says current week, just to make it easier to find the current week. And so you click on this, and here will be where you'll find all your assignments for the week. Now, I haven't posted every assignment. So like for today, you know, I've got yesterday's assignment. I got today's assignment. You can also get on Zoom and the recordings, but like I haven't posted tomorrow's, which is going to suck, by the way. But I'll talk about that here in a second. And then of course I don't have Fridays posted. Okay. So here's where you'll get all your assignments. I do apologize. Number 2, we're still not going to have to do number 2 because we'll talk about it, but you know, it's all the numbers are the same. So it kind of defeats the purpose of what we do. So number 1. So we want to make sure we're not forgetting how to do some of these basic things right here. And number 1, there's one equation, okay? Just one basic equation. There's just X's, just one letter, just X's. So there's not X's and Y's. Where do we do basic equations? Do you remember? Yeah, in the calculator where? Menu 3-1. So we don't want to forget, this is InSolve. We learned it, you know, and we still try to do it all the time, but we want to make sure we don't ever forget that basic equations are done in InSolve. So grab your calculators. Let's be doing this together. Oh, not my calculator. Oh, shoot. There goes Settles not being ready today. So I'm going to make an excuse real quick. I am now teaching 2 different classes. And my first period now is kids who failed first semester. So they're retaking first semester. And because of it, like I don't know, it's like screwing up my days. And like, I feel so unprepared some days. And I mean, just this week started. So hopefully I'll get into a groove and be a lot more prepared than what I am right now. Okay, so we're going to regular calculator. That's this right here. Okay, so click on that right there. And then we're clicking menu 3-1. So menu 3-1. So be clicking on menu 3-1. Maybe. All right, so we did it good. So be going to menu 3-1, and then we're typing in question 1. So we're typing in, what is that? 2 equals, so 2 equals 2 parentheses minus 2. Remember, we only use the minus sign, not the negative. 2, oh, did I do that right? Minus 2x. Yesterday, after this class, I swear every problem I typed in on the calculator, I typed it in wrong. You remember at the end, you got to put comma X and then you press enter this. So make sure you put that comma X at the end. Parentheses plus 4x. 4x plus 4. All right, and then at the end, you put comma X. And we hit enter. Okay. So as soon as I saw that, how many of y'all put D as your answer? Is that what most of us put? So no solution. You're right that this is special, but no solution. The calculator tells you no solution. It's infinite is the one you're thinking of. But that's right. You were thinking the right thing. We either know at this point, and by the way, I would do what most of y'all do. You see 0 and 0 is an option, you're putting 0, right? So I do want to remind you that our calculator struggles with infinite, okay? So I don't know right now if and I just seriously don't know if the answer to this, it looks like it would be infinite. But the answer could be 0, it could be infinite, all right? What I'm hoping is that if the answer is infinite, that 0 is not even an option. Does that make sense? So I hope 0 is not even an option. But if it is, that's fine. We just simply want to try to remember, we want to talk about it, that when it is infinite, our calculator struggles with this and it'll say 0 a lot. So at this point, you know it's either 0 or infinite. And I'm not going to lie, if infinite is an option and I get 0, I'm probably going to go with infinite just on a, because I'm like, when I see these two, how often do they put the no solution in infinite? Not often, unless that's the answer. Does that make sense? Now, I'm not saying that it always is the answer, but I don't know. If it was me, I would probably be going infinite at this point, but at least you know it's either infinite or 0, okay? And the answer, it looks like, is infinite. Okay. Now, you're not wrong if you put 0 because the calculator told you 0. Okay. So, like I said, if you ever get 0, put 0. Now, if infinite's not up there, then the answer would definitely be 0. Okay. So we just want to remember that our calculator struggles with infinite. All right. So number 2, how come we can't really do number 2? So we talked about you can't plug this in. This almost looks like this right here. It's just a basic equation, except for it doesn't have an equal sign. So we've talked about that you can switch this to an equal sign. Does everybody remember doing that? Just switch that to an equal sign. But if we do that, the only thing that happens is we find out the number. This is where I screwed up today. All the numbers are the same. All the numbers are -1. So does it do any good to type this in the calculator? No, I already know my number is -1. So the only other thing we can do right now is there an equal to bar in the beginning? If there's an equal to bar in the beginning, there's got to be one in my final answer. So we at least know it's not these two. You really don't know if it's these two without doing a little bit of work. Do y'all remember yesterday? We talked about if on this side, if the number in front of x is positive, it's going to stay the same. If the number in front of x is negative, then this will flip. Well, if we do mountaintops right here, -3 times -4, 2 negatives make a positive. So the number in front of x would end up positive. So this would stay the same. Now, if you can do that, that's great. If you can't, you got a 50-50 shot. Guess one of those. Okay. The answer should be D because the number was positive. But like I said, if you're like Settles, I have no idea what you just did, then you'll just guess 50-50. And a lot of times that's all we're doing anyways, is guessing 50-50. All right. This one and like I said, I will fix this to where it's better, but I was bad last night. All right. So this we definitely want to make sure we know. So when we take a look at this right here, what stands out? Why should this be easy? Why do we have to know this to pass the start? What do we see? The y equals. So in our answers, anytime we see these y equals, then we know we can plug this in the calculator. So grab your calculator. We're going to start with A here. So now this is y equals. We don't go to regular calculator. We go to graphs. So y equals, or anytime we got the 2 letters, that's always graphs. So we're going to go to graphs right here. So go home, go to graphs. Oh, that's not graphs. Go to graphs. All right, so I'm going to clear this out. So we got y equals right there, and we're typing in. I got to cheat off you. We're typing in 1/2 x. So we got control divide 1/2x. X. And then I think it was +1. Is that right? +1. All right. So after you hit enter, what do we always do? Menu 5-1. So menu 5-1. Now remember, this is not an answer right here. Okay. This is not an answer. Okay. So we're typing in number 3. We're typing in A. We're typing in A right here. So we'll be typing that in. Did you get it? All right. So, all right, you got to go to graphs because it's y equals. I could tell you were just kind of like, all right. So we need to change this 0 to whatever the x is in our problem. So I see 4 right here. So we're going to type in 4. And then see if this is -1. It is not. So we know A is not the answer. So if you're running behind, don't type in A. So are you talking about the tab and up? Oh, so menu 5.1. I got you. Sorry, I didn't understand. Menu 5.1, and then that'll make this appear, and then you type 4. There you go. So it was 4.3, so that wasn't what we were looking for. Okay. So and actually I'm gonna do this real quick. So we're gonna change this to B. So what's the difference between A and B? They switched that +1 to a -1, right? So we're simply gonna hit tab. So we're gonna hit tab and go up, and then just change that to a -1. All right, so menu 5.1. And I typed in 4, and it, remember, it said 4 and 1. We're looking for 4 and -1. So we got the right number, but the wrong sign. So do y'all remember the trick? Switch both of the signs. So this was a +1/2. I need a -1/2. This was a -1. I need a +1. So which one gives me a -1/2 and a +1? That would actually be C. So let's try C real quick. So C should work right here. So we're going to go tab, go up, change this to a plus, change this to minus, hit enter. All right, so menu 5.1. And right here, you could see 4 and -1 did work. And then -2 and 2. So we'll type in -2. If this one works, you're guaranteed for this to be your answer. And yep, -2 and +2. So we absolutely need to be able to do this, okay? And we don't want to not practice this every day and then, I always get kids, but I can just listen. I know it. That would be the same as saying, like, at basketball practice, my kid's going, I'm just going to listen to you tell me what to do and I'll be able to do it on game day. That doesn't work. You got to practice it for it to stay in there. So last review question. So this one up here was one equation, and we did menu 3.1. This has 2 equations. So what do we do? So one equation was menu 3.1. 2 equations is menu 3.2. So this goes back to regular calculator. We're going back to regular calculator here. And then we're going to hit menu 3.2. So menu 3.2. When this pops up, just hit enter, because I think it was using X and Y. Yeah, it was. So we'll just hit enter. All right. We're going to put the top equation in the top box, bottom equation in the bottom box. So just start tapping them in. So we got 4x minus 4y equals 0. And then on the bottom, we got y equals. And you just type it in exactly how it looks. It's 3x. Once you type them in, all you got to do, because it does. One of the nice things about this one is it fills out everything for you. So once you type both equations in, you just hit enter. I must have typed something wrong. Dadgummit, I tell you, I've been doing this. Like yesterday, I did this all the time. Oh, I see it. I hope y'all see. Y'all aren't the only ones that screw this up. And how did I know that I typed it in wrong? Chances are that's not going to be a fraction. Now, it could be. It could. But usually these come out to a whole number. So I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, I typed something in wrong. I forgot the X right here. I didn't put. And it's almost always we type something in wrong. And I screw up all the time. All right, so I got -4. -4, is that what y'all got? Everybody got that? Okay. So, you know, when we talk about the STAR test, and, you know, if you practice the calculator every day, when you finish the STAR test, you'll come back and say, this was the easiest STAR test I've ever taken, because you're going to do all the easy ones and then you're guessing C on all the hard ones, right? So it'll be the easiest. You'll be, you know, you're not going to be as stressed out because all you're doing is looking for the easy, but we got to be perfect on the easy. If we're not perfect on the easy, that changes everything. All right. So number 4 was B. Jose, okay, are you, hopefully you're plugging in into the chat. If there's a comment in the chat, I'm not looking at the chat. Let me just make sure real quick. Okay. Sam, you can put your answers in the chat if you want to. That we can take a picture. But you're more than welcome to take a picture as well. Okay, so yesterday we started talking about some little tricks that could help us on these kind of questions right here. Okay. So does anybody remember what the biggest trick is when you see like exponent questions like this? Okay. The biggest trick is to take care of the big numbers. If you take care of the big numbers are the easy numbers. Okay. Because they just do what they always do. So right here, I see 2. The dot means times, right? So we're still doing what we always do. 2 times 4. Now, hopefully y'all know 2 times 4, but let's just say you don't. Okay, all you do is go plug this into the calculator. So we got a regular calculator, just 2 times 4. And 2 times 4 is 8. That means in my answer, there has to be an 8. Immediately, what are you going to do? What can you mark off on number 5? So we did 2 times 4, just the big numbers. Yeah. So we can mark off B doesn't have an 8. D doesn't have an 8. Guys, there is nothing hard about taking care of those big numbers. And most of the time, you can just throw it in the calculator. Okay. Now, at this point, you might be going, okay, well, I don't know what to do now. That's fine. I can live with that. All right. But everybody should be able to take care of the big numbers. And by big numbers, I'm talking the physically big numbers. So these are small numbers right here. The 2 and the 3, those exponents are tiny numbers. All right. They're small. The 2 and the 4 are the bigger numbers. So you take care of the bigger numbers. Now, look at your answers. Is there anything else you would get rid of, or would y'all just guess at this point? And I'm okay if you're just guessing at this point. But can anybody look at this and get rid of something else? Why can we get rid of A? What's A missing? Look at A, there's no M's. Like I have M's right here, and down here there's no M's. Now it is possible for the M's to disappear, but if I had to guess, I would expect there to be some M's, so I would probably go with C, especially since C's my guessing letter, right? And in the end, another thing, how many N's are there? There's only one N. This has 2 N's. So it almost guarantees that C's got to be the answer just because this is the only one that has 1 N. So remember, always try to count your letters as well. Okay, so let's take a look at this one right here. Now, this one right here, I want to see y'all do this in your calculator, okay? So on this one right here, I want you to deal with just the big numbers, okay? So we've got to go find our big numbers, and I want to see all y'all type this into the calculator. All right, what big numbers do we see? First, we see this 2 right here, right? Now, anytime there's parentheses, do the parentheses matter? Yes, parentheses always matter. So if you see a 2 and around this 2 there's parentheses, you absolutely must put them, okay? So you absolutely have to put the parentheses. Now, on the outside of the parentheses, if there's an exponent, you have to put it. So you have to put to the 4th power right here. So parentheses are vital when we're dealing with this, okay? If there's parentheses around a big number, you have to put it, and you have to put any exponents on the outsides of parentheses. Now, is there another big number? Right here. All right. We're gonna let the calculator take care of it now. So I'm gonna walk around. I want to see y'all plug this in your calculator. Okay. So go to regular calculator, and we're typing in our big numbers. Okay. So we're typing in our big numbers. Parentheses matter. So you got to include the parentheses. So so a lot of y'all just now started paying attention. So look back up here. Okay. So we're looking only at the big number. So the 2 and this 2 here. Parentheses matter. So you're putting parentheses around this 2 and any exponents on the outside. So see this right here? This is all we're worried about. This big number with the parentheses and its exponent and that big number. Type this into your calculator. So type that into your calculator. So parentheses 2. Do y'all remember how to get the exponent? It's that housetop button, okay? It's right next to the 4. So we got parentheses 2. It's this housetop button right there, that one that's lit up red right now. And then you can type in, what was it, 4? Oh, I'm going to make a mistake. And if you do this, you're going to get the wrong answer. Watch this real quick. I'm going to hit times 2. Why is that wrong? It's still in the exponent. See, that 2's little bitty. I don't want that 2 to be little bitty. So when you hit that housetop, you got to hit over to the side. Maybe even down will work. I don't know. I always hit to the side. Now you hit times 2. And we should get 32. So you should have got 32 then. Is that what y'all got, was 32? You got 8. Let me see what you put. So anytime a gray box, you just hit escape and it'll go up. Oh, you put 2 instead of 4. You're putting 4 right there. So yeah, you did everything right. You can always just, oh, okay. Well, not more. You get it? Okay, yeah, so don't make that little bitty. Delete that. Okay, go down or go to the side. Now hit times, not decimal, but times. There you go, 2. Hit it. There you go. Now look at your answers if you got 32. Good. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so you know it's either got to be C or D. And this is what I want you to see. Even on the STAR test, this happens. So even on the STAR test, if you take care of the big numbers, you should be able to eliminate 2. And a lot of times you're going to get the answer. Now, can y'all eliminate something else? There's one of these is obviously not it. It's pretty obvious. Take a look at the problem and take a look at your answers. Yeah, D is obviously not it, because what does D have that's not even in this problem? It has M's. Where do these M's come from? Okay. There's no M's in that problem right there. So C has to be our answer right there. If in the end you can't look at it and find something obvious, well then, once again, what would I guess? I would probably guess C. If it was an option between C and D, I'm going with C always. All right. So I'm going to draw a fraction bar right here. What are my big numbers? On top. Let's start with just on top. What are my big numbers? 4 and 2. And that dot right there means times. So I got to include the times still. So 4 times 2. What about on bottom? 2. That's what I'm putting in the calculator right there. So we're going to go to our calculator. We're going to hit our fraction bar. I'm just going to clear this out just to give me a brand new screen. All right, so we're going to go control divide, and we're typing in 4 times 2. So 4 times 2 over 2. Hit enter. I got 4. All right, so take a look. Now, there's 2 of these that have the number 4, right? So it's obviously not B, it's obviously not D. But the number 4 itself means that it's on top, not on bottom. If it was on bottom, it would have said 1 over 4, okay? So if it has to be on top, which of these puts 4 on top? A is the only one that puts 4 on top. So just taking care of the big numbers actually got us the answer, okay? So when we test on next Friday, I'm not expecting, like I said, this to be a great test, okay? I don't expect you to have all the rules memorized to exponents. But what I do expect is that you are able to take care of the big numbers. That's the one thing I expect. take care of the big numbers. And if you take care of the big numbers and you still end up missing it because, you know, it was 50-50 and you guessed the wrong one, man, I'll live with that. And I'm going to be very generous. Okay. So when I look at your grade and I'm like, oh, he got the big number right, but got the question wrong, you know, I'm going to give you a few extra points because you at least took care of the big numbers. Okay. So that's the one part I expect everybody to do on all these questions is just those big numbers and just being able to throw them in the calculator. All right. So let's take a look here. We now have to know some of the rules on this one. There's no way to get around this one. We have to know the rules. Okay. So it says the expression, so they give us this expression right here, is equivalent. Do y'all know what equivalent means? Y'all know I hate to read. Yeah, y'all know I hate to read. So I do a lot of stuff where on big words, I try to see if I can figure it out. And I see equa, and equa would be like equal, right? So it just means equal. So it's saying this is equal to this. Now, I want you to take a good look at this question. This is how it's done on the star. This looks really tough, and it's really not all that bad, okay? So this right here says this is equal to this, and that looks weird, okay? And then it says, what is the value of n? All they want to know is when you add these numbers up, what's the exponent going to be? That's all they're asking, okay? So remember, when you got letters with exponents, side by side, add them up. Just count how many, in this case, z's. How many z's are there in this problem? Well, I got 4 z's here, and I got 9 z's here. So what's 4 plus 9? 13. So we have 13 z's here, and the answer is just 13. Now, I don't think we talked about this yesterday, but sometimes this comes out to a negative number, okay? If it comes out to a negative number, are we allowed to have negative exponents? No, we're not. However, it is impossible to flip that if it's a griddable. Notice there's no multiple choice here. A lot of times these are griddables. So on a question like this, if it's a griddable, if you get a negative, you have to leave it as a negative. And I know that goes against everything we talked about, but you know, if it said -4 and -9, the answer would be -13. And we would put -13 in the griddable. You cannot flip it. Okay. So it kind of goes against everything we've taught you. All right. So take a look at this one. What's weird about this is my exponent is a what here? The exponent's a fraction there. So that's kind of weird. Now, let's start with what we know. Is there a big number? Yes. So I'm going to take 256. Are there parentheses? Yes. Do the parentheses matter? Yes. You have to put parentheses. If there's an exponent on the outside of the parentheses, which there is, we've got to put that as well. Can the calculator do this? Yeah, calculator can do that. So we're going to go, now you may not know what this means, but the calculator does. So we're going to go type in parentheses 256, close your parentheses, hit your, okay, so you're going to hit your exponent button first. Guys, listen up on this because I want to make sure that y'all are getting this, right? We want to put a fraction exponent. You have to do the exponent first and then the fraction. I get kids that try to do the fraction and then try to make it an exponent. Do the exponent first, then do control divide. Does everybody see that? So do the exponent button first, that housetop thing, then control divide. Now we can put 1/4. Hit enter. I got 4. Is that what y'all got? Okay. So the calculator will do this for you. All right, 2 of these are now eliminated. And this is what I want to keep going back to. Guys, we took this kind of straight from the STAR test. This is kind of what it looks like on the STAR test. All right. So these 2 questions come straight from the STAR. So we want you to see that there is one other type of question. So they kind of rotate. Some years they do this, some years they do this. And then there's another question where typically if you take care of the big numbers, you got the exact answer. So we know it's one of these because it's got a 4. So now anytime that there's parentheses, we do the distributive property with this. okay? So when we do mountaintops and we distribute, mountaintops mean to multiply. You're gonna multiply 16 times 1/4. This is the hard part. So if you struggle with this part, I'm okay, all right? So if this doesn't make any sense, then you guess between these two. So you're literally just gonna take 16 times 1/4. You're not gonna make them exponents or anything. You're just gonna go 16 times 1/4. So fraction. So this to me is the hard part right here. All right, and we got 4. So when I distributed this 1/4 to the 16, it now gives me 4 m's, which are the C has 4 m's. So the answer would be C. So if you're actually working this out, okay, because you know that when there's an exponent right there that you have to distribute it, you're multiplying these two numbers together. Multiply it in the calculator and figure out what the exponent becomes. If you're like, Coach Settles, I don't understand that because we haven't had a lot of time to work on it, I'm okay with that because we haven't had a lot of time. What would be your strategy here? If A and C are an option? Yes, C. Okay. So follow strategy. All right. Take care of the big numbers. And then after that, if you don't know what you're doing, follow strategy. And now, if C's not an option, then obviously guess something else. But at least be able to follow strategy. We don't have a lot of time, but this is actually what we're supposed to be doing today. It's not high priority on my list because of the fact that there's absolutely no problems on the STAR test over this. None. Okay. It will be on our Unit 5 test, but none on the STAR. So they're trying to take exponents and apply them to real life. I know of no real life questions that look like this. So to me, this is kind of they're just making up stuff. So they want us to find the area of this square or this rectangle. The formula for area is right here. Formula for area should always be given to you. If it's not, it's usually the most basic formula, length times width. I think most of y'all remember length times width as far as area goes, right? Most of us. So when we look at this, if we're going to find the area, then we're going to multiply the length times the width. In other words, we're going to multiply these two. Okay. So we're just simply multiplying these two. So all I want you to do is take care of the big numbers first. What's 15 times 3? Can somebody throw that in the calculator for me real quick? 15 times 3. 45. I think that's right. Sounds right. Then if we multiply the bigs, we add the smalls. I want you to add up all the x's and add up all the y's. Now, these numbers are kind of small. I think that's 3 x's right there. Is that 7 right there? So 3 plus 7 would give me how many x's? Add. 10. So we multiply the bigs, but we add the smalls. Do what? Oh, are you talking right here? Okay, so this is the y's. So on the y's, we got 12. No, you're good. You're good. So we got 12 y's here, and then there's not a number right here, which means that there's a 1. So 1y plus 12 y's gives me how many y's total? 13. So you multiply the big numbers and then just add up all your letters. Okay. This is the most basic rule right here. This is the one rule that I would like for y'all to kind of learn is multiply the bigs and add up all the smalls. Okay. So look at number 11. We're still doing multiplication. It's length times width. This is my length times width. So what's 7 times 5? Say 35? Okay. Sorry, hearing was bad. All right, so 35, and then we're adding up the x's. So I got 5 x's right there plus 4 x's, 9 x's. So x to the 9. Is that 10? Okay, so 10 and 8. So yes, that would be y to the 18. Multiply the bigs, add the smalls. Don't ever do the same thing with a big and a little number. If you multiply the bigs, don't multiply the smalls. Okay, so remember, little kids don't get to do what big kids do. So little numbers don't get to do what the big numbers do. Okay. Number 12. Those of you online, I know you can't do exponents, so just write down everything you can, best you can. I know the numbers won't be the exponents. Just type it in best you can. All right, number 12. So this is volume. So volume is length times width, but it adds something else times height. Length times width times height. Like I said, if you get a volume question, it's the most basic formula. Length times width times height. Now it's same thing, but now you're multiplying three things, three big numbers, and adding up, all the three x's. So I'm definitely going to need calculator help on this one. 3 times 4 times 6. 72. So 3 times 4 times 6 is 72. Just simply taking all the big numbers and multiplying. Now add up all your x's. So that's 5 x's here. Is that 3? And then this is 4. So that's 8 plus 4 would be 12. As I said, 12. So 12 x's. And then there's 2 y's, 5 y's, and I think that's a 6 right there. So yeah, I'm going to go with 6. So 6 plus 5 would be what, 11? And then you said 13? Okay. I was like, well, I think that's, so 6 plus 5 would be 11 plus 2. Yeah, it would be 13. 13.